it down, but
I think it should be good right here.
yeah.
One of them like this.
Yeah. At first I was doing it where you had like iMovie and GarageBand, and you had to like manually sync the audio and video.
Yeah.
Took me like 5 hours.
You got it though. So that's all that matters.
Nope, I did not. I copped Final Cut Pro. Is this little software that Apple has. You just press a little button, combines them. That's all it is, man.
Keep showing the light, cause shoot, podcasts is just dope, bro. I'm trying. One of these days, it'll come up on me to really press up on it, but it ain't pressed up on me, so I ain't really.
I feel like you'd have some good ass conversations. Would you?
For sure.
Would you bring guests on there or what?
Of course. You got it. That's the only way to expand your podcast is if you bring different people in so they can talk about different genres, different things going on in their life. Because a podcast got to be versatile. It can be strictly one thing, but in order to expand, it got to be versatile. So.
Facts. Because I think that was my whole thing for. Just get a little closer.
I got you.
That was my whole thing for like. Because it's called the Grounded Theory podcast, technically.
Yeah.
Not the Grounded Hoops podcast. Because like you were saying, just the opportunity to like branch out for other things. You know what I'm saying? Like get some athletes on here, get some coaches on here.
All of that. It's funny because I don't know if you remember, but I told you a while back, I was like, bro, we got to have the merch, got to have the podcast, you got to have all of that. I was just brainstorming idea back in the dorm room at Fama. I was just brainstorming. And I was just like, bro, it's going to happen. You just got to stay with it.
Yep.
Shirts came. The podcast came. Commercials finna come. All of that, man. We going to speak it into existence. We going to use our tongue, man.
Yeah,
we going to use our tongue to be a rudder.
We was out here in the Fontbonne dorm rooms just planting seeds, man.
Planting seeds and letting them harvest.
Planting and plotting.
Facts. and a lot of faith, though. Faith that come behind it because, faith the size of a mustard seed, can move mountains in the Bible. That's what it says. So we know that when we continue to believe and do on our part, we know that God will come through and do his. So definitely what you did had a lot of faith because you can't get to where you are if you didn't reach out. Like you can't, I don't know how you came up with grounding or on what you did to get her, but you had to have faith without works is dead. So you put in your work behind your faith and that's where it came. So I definitely gotta give you your flowers, my boy. I gotta give you your flowers. Gotta give my dog Mal his flowers. Is this how it's recording?
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta give my dog Mal his flowers because he definitely people don't know, but school was not really for Mal. School was not for him. He made it through by the grace of God, but school was not for him at all. And you pulled through, and this is what you want to do, so we here. And I'm glad to be on it. I'm glad to be on it, man, because we all had that time in school where we was ready to be done.
I was about to say, first of all, I appreciate you.
Yes,
I was about to say, I could say the same exact thing for you. We were in the same boat, bro. We were freshman year. Damn, bro, I don't want to do this, dog. We was like 2 weeks deep into our freshman year.
Right.
Calculating like how many days we got left and shit.
Man, we was ready to get up out of there.
We were in English 101, introduction to English, talking about, damn, bro, I can't wait to be done.
Yeah, now look, we done.
We out here, man.
Now look, we done.
So you're in a similar boat, bro. You're preaching, doing your thing.
Well, at least trying to. I'm just kind of speaking now. And by the way, I speak at Help Out. Speak at it's called The House. It's called The House over there in Ferguson. If just in case if y'all want to come tune in, 303 North Elizabeth Avenue over there in Ferguson, called The House.
Every Sunday,
not every Sunday. It just depends when they kind of need me or want me. But I also do student ministry, youth ministry. So Pastor John over there, that's in charge of youth ministry, he let me kind of get in and get my feet wet and continue practicing on my skills. But the main big dog, head pastor Lenny Barber over there at The House, he definitely, I knew him when I was 17. And so I just he took me from outside in. And he met me because of Pattonville and Grace Church. It's right there by each other. And so I used to hop that fence, walking up the practice field at Pattonville just to get to Grace Church to go to the prayer meetings on Thursdays. And so me and him connected there. And then I was 17 when I met him. And then it took off from there. And he just took me in and hit him up like, yo, I need an intern. He was like, come on, let's do it. And that's when my skills just started growing and growing and growing. As far as me, also like what you do is networking and branching out. That's what I did too, networking, branching out, and I'm just building my skills. So yeah,
just planting seeds.
I'm trying.
When did you first start interning?
I interned like maybe 2 years ago, or last year. No, last summer. Last summer was my first intern going into our senior year. That's why his church was over there new. Everything was new. Like we had to clean out the auditorium, clean the chairs, get everything ready to be launched because it was a church plant that he did to take over that church. So it was a church plant he did, and that was part of my intern, just to see what it's like as a head pastor and what they got to go through when you down here, when you're not up here already established, like like Joel Osteen and TD Jakes and all of them when they up here. So he started from the ground and he's working his way up. So I get an idea of what it's like. Okay, he never stops thinking. He never stops brainstorming ideas. Okay, we trying to do this for the community. We trying to do this for the church. We gotta do this. We gotta call and reach these people to come cut our grass. We gotta call and get these people to come empty the dumpster. But he got a good support system because he got his wife behind him too, and other people to help him out. So I definitely see what it's like to run a church on your own when you down here trying to keep elevating. And it's a lot of work. It ain't for the weak. It's not. You really have to be called to do that.
You just named about 6 different things I didn't even think were part of the process.
Of course, a lot.
Cutting grass, dumpsters. Like,
yeah.
I didn't even think that would.
He got to figure out how to knock out space to get extra parking spots. It's a lot. It's a lot that goes with a church, man. And I was just like, sheesh. It's stuff that people don't see. Because all you seeing is waking up and you going to church and you see, we praising the Lord, praising Christ on Sundays. But you don't see the stuff that you got to do behind it. It's a lot that goes with it. And, I was able to help with some things. And so it was nice. Me and another intern.
There were 2 interns?
I had one last summer, and then I had another one with me this summer, and they both cool peoples. Gotcha. Both people I can hit up, and they can help me out, and friendly and loving. So shout out to them.
And then after your internship, well, are you still interning right now?
No, I just finished. I finished.
Okay. So then are you going to keep on going down that path?
Honestly, that's if the Lord guide me down that path. Honestly, I continue. All I can do is place my eggs in so many baskets, and try to figure out which one's gonna hatch. Again, I always go back to the Bible, man, because of me being a big believer in Christ and knowing that Jesus is my Lord and Savior. I also understand that we can determine our plans, but the Lord will determine our steps. And so when the Bible says that, I also got when somebody broke that when a good guy friend of mine's at the house, at the church, the house, we all consider each other like family. So when a person broke it down to me that I'm really cool with, he broke it down. Notice how we could determine our plans, but the Lord would determine our steps. When it says plans with an S at the end of plans, put your eggs in so many baskets and the right ones to hatch. And that's kind of how you'll know where you're going to go in life. The right one's going to hatch. Not necessarily, because the life is so unexpected. However, if you put your eggs in 13 different baskets and some of them start to hatch, then you kind of get an idea of where you're going to go with things. So I'm just kind of reaching out, networking, speaking at churches. But also, man, I don't know, man. Just a lot of things I want to do, continue to keep speaking. God willing, to continue to play sports at a higher level. Continue to, You know, I don't know, want to get into this podcast thing or YouTube thing that you got going, and you got the podcast, but I want to get into so many things, man. I'm just kind of putting my eggs in so many baskets, seeing which one gonna hatch for me.
That's fire, bro.
Yeah.
I think that's been like a major theme, I guess, for me this year.
Yeah.
Is like having this idea, or you have like these goals or plans or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you like in your head, you imagine how you think it's going to work out, the steps, like you were saying.
Facts.
And then it just does not go according to plan.
It don't.
By any means.
But you get hit with curveballs, though. But you guys know what happens to you is how you handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then maybe that curveball is for the better.
True.
You know? There is a quote I read, and I dropped this quote on episode number 2, either 1 or 2. It was either with Hav or Leon. But I read this quote that was essentially saying, like, you have no idea what mistakes you avoided by not having that thing work out the way you thought it was going to work out.
Man.
You have no idea what mistakes you avoided.
No idea.
So you mentioned 13 eggs in baskets, a lot of things that you want to do.
Right.
Do you find yourself spreading yourself too thin? I would think that, I mean, shit, we're young, bro. Now's the time to do it.
I know. I'm definitely, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to do as much as I can, because I ain't gonna lie to you, it's so crazy now that I'm saying this, but like, you know how we brag and we couldn't wait to be done with school. But honestly, man, I'm actually thinking about going to get my master's too. thinking about going back. I want to go back and get my master's, bro. I do want to go back and get my master's. I don't know what and what. I probably do either social work or, you know, education, but I definitely want to go back and get my master's. Those just brainstorming ideas. It's crazy. But 2 years, bro, we did 4. 2 years ain't gonna be 2 years gonna feel like a year.
That is true.
So I don't know, man. I definitely want to go back and get my master's, but I don't know. I'm doing everything. Honestly, like you said, it's the time to go do it. We 22.
Mm-hmm.
22, 23. I'm 22, so therefore I'm just finna do everything I can, because I don't want to get older in life and be like, man, I look back on my 20s and be like, man, I should have did X, Y, and Z. Nah, this not that. We finna go get it. We finna try everything we can. Like, I done stepped outside my comfort zone, man. And even with trying to get somewhere with basketball, man, I'm reaching out to so many people, because I was never the type to, you know, I don't know. I was never that type to really just kind of throw myself at people to try to,
like, asking for favors.
Yeah, get in my corner. But sometimes you need that. Like, sometimes, and the quickest way to ruin something, man, is pride. And I think maybe the pride got me, because it was like, man, if it's meant to be, we'll find each other. But it's like, sometimes you got to initiate things to get to where you want to be. And so, man, I just was networking, and I'm even trying to reach out with people to get in my corner, to give me some knowledge, train with them, and try to connect to get somewhere with basketball, because Lord knows I don't want to put that down either. I don't want to put it down. So
you're still working, lifting, hooping, doing your thing.
Yeah, while balancing the work life, while balancing trying to bring in the income to stay on my feet, to get on my feet, because I don't like, it's cool to, at first I was training with basketball, but I was just kicking in and chilling over on this side, and I ain't have no money. I was freshly out of college, graduated. This wasn't the time to just sit around and not do nothing. Like, I needed an income to come in, because I didn't want to go kick it and have fun, spend that money, and then not make it back. It don't feel good to spend money and not make it back. So my mama wouldn't even let me just sit around and not do nothing. I wouldn't even like that myself. So still working and hooping, balancing I go running after work. As far as me being in the sun at a car wash place, detailing the inside of the cars, get home, I'll go run, do some, little lifting at the house, and just trying to balance it, man. Trying to balance it.
And where do you see hooping? Like, where do you see yourself?
Like I said, by the grace of God, somewhere trying to play professionally, somewhere trying to accomplish my dream, because I mean, you know a little bit of the story. You know how it was in college basketball. You know how I didn't really see the court. And as much as I did and much as hard work I put in, it just, some things just don't pan out the way you want it to. And I seen something, man, in I think Jalen Hurts said it after the Super Bowl or something like that in the interview. And he was like, man, sometimes in life you gonna give it your all, and sometimes it ain't just gonna be enough. And that's just the reality of it. So I gave him my all at times. I definitely gave him my all. I ain't even gonna say at times because I'm not perfect, and I'm gonna keep it real. Like, it was sometimes where I was just like, man, forget it. Like, he ain't gonna play me. It was just times where I was just like, man, forget it. But other times, because I do enjoy hooping, I found a way to come and practice every day, motivated or trying to get somebody better or even get myself better, regardless if I get played or not. But definitely see myself trying to hoop professionally. And those of y'all that's watching, I know you got a lot of people in your corner, man, or I know you know a lot of people, man. Definitely trainers, people that can network with. Definitely, if y'all see this, you gonna put my @ in the Instagram?
For sure.
Definitely hit me up so I can, I'll pay, train. I know I reached out to a few people. I'm gonna get with them to train and stuff like that. But people with the connections with overseas and you trainers, definitely hit me up. And if y'all don't mind helping me, help me out, please. That'd be greatly appreciated.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire, man. That's a good point you brought up about like just the grind of the season.
Yeah.
And there's days that like, fuck, bro, I don't want to do this.
No.
He's not playing me.
You don't.
And honestly, you probably had every reason to be like that.
Yeah.
Fuck this, bro. I'm not trying to fuck.
Man, people don't know. People don't know the story.
Because it's hard, bro. Because I see that so much. And I was the same way. Like,
yeah.
You just in terms of like, it's a marathon. So like, even just heading into a season, start of the season, October 15th, first day of practice, whatever it is.
Right.
Bro, I love basketball. This is dope, man. Let's do this. I'm hyped up. Let's get it.
Right.
Okay, cool. December, January. Damn, it's a long season.
It's a long season.
Day after day after day, 2.5 hour practices, Griffin shooting. I'm trying to think of what other drills we would do.
Bigs and guards, obviously you split. You got Griffin shooting. All the drills come with, bigs and guards. After you do the Griffin shooting, I think you split up, you maybe do a little drill, and then bigs and guards come right after it. So while y'all down there doing y'all hook shots or drop steps or, whatever, we down there doing pick and roll, or we down there doing defense and stuff, or so. It just depends on what they got on the agenda.
Kentucky drill?
Yeah.
Did that a couple times. It's different, bro. Let me get your thoughts on this. Like the difference, because I was talking to some of my guys yesterday after our workout. Just like the difference between high school and college. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not going to give my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts.
The difference between high school and basketball, man, is obviously skill-wise. You got a lot of people that's skilled, but strength-wise too. Strength, a lot of people are stronger. A lot of people are faster, maybe quicker. Difference between it's the tempo of the game. Tempo of the game. High school, just when I go back and watch high school games, it'd be like, man, it's slow.
You think high school is slow?
Yeah, sometimes when I look at it, or maybe that's just the teams I watch. It just depends, but
like in terms of the speed of like the individual player.
That too, and just like it's just so many things like moving the ball faster, or like if somebody's open, it's like they taking all day to make the right reads. Taking all day to...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, taking all day to just do a closeout. It's just the speed is different. The tempo of the game is different. Like college sometimes, man, you got to be on your game because you come across that one point guard that really got vision of the court, he's not hesitating to make that pass over your head. He's not hesitating to throw that lob. He's not hesitating to catch the ball and do a rip through and get to the paint and kick it out. So definitely individually speeds is faster too. So it's a lot, and you got a lot of shooters. It's a lot of shooters. You'll have a little short dude that can shoot the ball, and you'll have a tall person that can shoot the ball. So I think skill is really, really important, but I don't see too much of fundamentals neither though, because the skill is kind of overbalancing the fundamentals. And I'm the type, I as much as I don't really like doing the fundamentals, I'm glad I do make myself do the fundamentals, because those come in handy, because you really see the fundamentals when somebody get fatigued. When somebody get fatigued, you ain't doing the fundamentals, but when you get fatigued and doing the fundamentals, that can kind of save you with a lot of things.
What do you think is an example of a fundamental?
Fundamentals as in, like when you tired, staying low and catching the ball, getting ready to shoot, staying ready. Fundamentals defense, having your hands out, being and staying low, staying ready to, when you fatigue and the ball is cross court, they make a skip pass and you got to run over there to your man and hurry up and close out correctly. When you tired, you just going to be desperate to get there and have a hand up and they go right past you. Fundamentals is, just staying low.
Staying disciplined.
Staying disciplined to what you know. Mm-hmm. Staying disciplined. But again, that also matters with who's in your corner that's teaching you correctly as well. Because that matters too, because if somebody in your corner not teaching you right, you're going to get out there and do the wrong things. And that's going to make you look bad. And then you sitting there saying, well, our coach taught me this. Now that's making the coach look bad. So, all you're going to do is hope and trust that every coach is teaching the right things. But, if we did go over fundamentals. That's all we kind of had to do, because of the way our coach loved to play the game and his type of style of play. We had to close out. We couldn't let nobody get middle when they was on the wing. And I see some teams just guard straight up, but that was his way of how we had to play. So, you had to buy into that. And he always told us to definitely Coach G. Shout out to Coach G. Shout out to Coach G, man.
G, for real.
He helped me through 4 years, man. He knew I was over the head coach. He knew it. He knew that. And so he was teaching me, staying low. When you fatigue, staying low. He taught me, to catch the ball like how you read in a book, to catch it like this, because the way I used to catch a basketball was weird. However I caught it was how it was going up. But he taught me, catch it like this, read like a book, catch it like a book. That helped me out. So he was definitely in our corner teaching us to, whatever he knew, he was trying to pass it down to us, because, he told me at the end of the season, when we made it to the tournament, he was playing a game of basketball through us. He was playing a game of basketball through us. And so whatever he knew and the knowledge he knew of the game, he was definitely passing that back down to us. So I definitely appreciate that, because that definitely took my game from her to her just by knowledge. And even getting in the gym with him. Like the moves he taught me when I was a freshman, I still use them moves to this day. Like I would never forget the part where he told me that basketball is music. I would never forget that, because he taught me on a move, and I was like, why do you do that move every time you get in here? And he was like, I do it just because of giving the defense or giving the offense a certain amount of split second to see what they gonna do. And if I get this space, I'm gonna shoot it. If not, if I have somebody come up on me, I dish it off. So I understood that as, the more and more I got with him, and the more and more I asked questions. But he's not the type to just, he will, but he's not really that type to just come up on you and just flood you with stuff. He got to make sure you also interested and you want it as well.
He's going to wait for you to come to him.
Yeah, because you can't help nobody that don't want to be helped. Mm-hmm. But if you seeking out for help, he is her. He there. And that's so. Coach
G is a real one for sure. Yeah,
shout out to Coach G, man. He helped me though. I ain't gonna lie, because I was like, man, he knew exactly all my emotions and how it was with, the roller coaster that I had at basketball. So he knew. For sure.
He can hoop too.
Yeah, I want his duffel bag. I want everybody duffel bag, bro. I'm trying to take my game from her to her each day, man. I'm trying to grow, man, because I've never had really a trainer, because I did CYC basketball, which is, I think, Catholic Youth Church basketball. Mm-hmm. So I did CYC basketball. But also trying doing football as well. So when you got a single parent, she only doing what she can. So I did CYC. I never did AAU. I never did select basketball. I never did none of it. It was strictly CYC. And then, when you got to high school, up there at Pattonville, I played freshman. Sophomore year come JV. Junior year come, I played JV again. And so that's already pride right there, because when you become a junior, you want to be junior, senior for your varsity years. But I was on JV. And then my senior year, that's when I got to experience varsity, man. And you can only grow so much as a basketball player. You can only grow by when you sitting on the bench and watching. But you can grow more when you out there playing, because you get the feel of the game. You get the feel of the pace. You get the feel of how people operate out there. You get the feel of it, so that helps a lot by being out there. But it also helps even when you sit and people don't understand that that's really crucial too. Because when you never know when your name will get called. And I learned that through college, man, by not playing. You never knew when your name was going to get called. I never knew when my name was going to get called. Never knew. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So I used to be in practice trying to treat everything like it was games, because throughout my 4 years, bro, man, I never knew when my name was going to get called. It was games where I went 2 games, didn't play at all. So you thinking this third game, man, I ain't played the last 2 games. I probably ain't going to play again.
Nope. First off the bench.
Yeah. Boom, he throw me in. And I used to be ready every single time. Sometimes my freshman, I used to get out there and just like, man, I'm going to put the ball through the hoop. I used to get out there and just try to get straight to it. No hesitation. But I also understand that the higher you go with basketball, the more of a role you got to play. So I used to have to get in there and just run the offense, protect the basketball, run the offense. And I think I was just somebody that I had to get in there so he can trust me to run in the plays, protecting the ball. But I guess I was more of a defensive person. He wanted me out there to play defense.
Teams need people like that, though.
Yeah.
Bro. Like, not everyone. Because if you have a team of 15 guys and they're all trying to average 20, it just doesn't work.
You got to do something that's going to keep you on the court longer.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to stand out. A lot of people don't. I took pride in things people didn't want to take pride in. I took pride in defense. I hated getting beat. And I had to pick up full court. I hated when somebody blew past me. I used to love it, though, because I was like, I used to tell myself, they're not getting past me again. So I took pride in things that nobody wanted to take pride in, which was defense, trying to rebound. Trying to block shots, if that may have happened. I don't think I really had block shots, but I tried. Tried to get steals. I tried to pickpocket people. I tried a lot, but definitely got to do things that keep you on the court longer, because, again, the higher you go, the more of a role you have to play. You got to be a role player, and a lot of people don't want to be role players because they want to put the ball through the hoop, but
Matt Barnes was on a podcast a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote this in my notes. Probably like freshman year of college when I heard it, because it stuck with me, because he was talking about, I think it was on All the Smoke, I don't remember. Yeah. But he was talking about how he was a role player, and what he would do is kind of like objectively look at the team and figure out what they're not good at, and then he would fill those gaps. So if the team that he was
That's
on,
clever,
right? If the team he was on was not good at transition defense, all right, let me dedicate all my attention to transition defense and getting matched up. If they're not good at 3-point shots or whatever, 3-point shooting, focus on that and like fill in those gaps. And then, to your point, everyone needs those players that aren't gonna do what everyone wants to do.
Thanks.
Fill those gaps.
Defense is crazy.
Help the team. The smallest of the small, bro. Transition defense, like
that's huge too, because a lot of teams like to go. A lot of teams find their momentum through transition, because a lot of teams don't want to get back. I ain't gonna say a lot of teams don't want to get back, but when that fatigue kick in, again, fundamentals is when you get score a basket, sprint hard down that court and find your man. Most thing you want to do is protect your basket. You need to sprint. As soon as your basket scored, you score a basket, you need to sprint and get back. That's like the first thing coaches teach us: sprint and get back. And most teams be so tired. As soon as they score that ball, you hurry up and inbound it. Somebody's already leaking out. Okay, like I told you earlier, the difference between high school, not necessarily the difference because I've seen it happen in high school, but you come across them good teams. A good point guard ain't hesitating to throw that pass full court for their team to get it. They gonna throw it, no hesitation. So you have to get back.
And like you said, either they're tired or you score it and then
celebration.
Feel yourself a little bit.
Feeling it.
You feel like you have a couple seconds to take your foot off the gas. But like you said, they got point guards that'll throw that thing. And if you're playing Greenville,
that's a track meet. They trapping everywhere.
You better get ready.
They trapping everywhere. That's the only good game I had in college was against Greenville. And that was my senior year. I had a double-double. That was my first time ever getting a double-double, I think, in college.
Rebounds or assists?
Scoring and rebounding.
Rebounding.
I had like 22 points with like maybe 10 or 12 rebounds.
Nice.
And that was it. That was that's the only memory I can really live off of in college. Beside going to the winning SLEAC championship and going to the tournament, but I wasn't really out there to experience that. I got out there for a little bit, and that was just, I guess to give play a role, get a starting point guard a break till he able to come back in, then I'm out. But
I think that's part of the journey, bro. Part of your journey specifically is like in basketball, it's common. It's a popular thought that like growing up, you got to play AAU.
Man,
if you're not traveling out of the state in middle school to play tournaments, you're falling behind. If you're not specializing in one sport, you're falling behind. And
that's false.
You have to be varsity as a freshman, or if you're a junior on JV, like you're just done. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Like you went CYC, freshman, JV junior year, and then varsity for the first time your senior year.
Yeah.
And then you ended up playing 4 years of college basketball, which is something that not everybody could say.
Right. And so, I mean, to keep it really all the way real, of course, freshman, JV, but toward the end of my junior year, really, I was getting a little varsity rest because it's just so funny how everything play out because how I felt, everybody that was ahead of me on that varsity team my junior year, and this is just me thinking, like I'm 16 years old thinking, everybody ahead of me got hurt. Everybody that was an upperclassman that was in my grade, they all got hurt, so they couldn't play. I was one of the only juniors. One of the only like junior, because I was trying to think. I was like one of the only junior point guards that was still on the team that was not hurt. And so again, I didn't understand really too much of stay ready so you don't got to get ready. But that's when my coach threw me in, and I ran with that moment. And he was definitely, it was tough coaching because I didn't know what varsity felt like. Because again, varsity and JV is different in high school. Very different. The tempo of the game, people are getting stronger, faster. Like by the time you think you got the time to catch this ball and find the right laces to shoot your 3-point shot, you don't really got that much time on varsity level. You got to
even like a JV player, you could be a freshman on JV.
Yeah.
And you're 14 years old, and then a senior on varsity is 18. That's a big difference.
Big difference. Experience matters though. Experience does matter. So you don't got that much time to do what you want to do. You got a split second to make a decision. And I think really that's I don't know. It's a lot of differences, big differences with college and high school. Because I keep pinpointing back to that comment because the more we talk about things, the more I keep finding differences. But I think that maybe the biggest thing is decision making. But JV and varsity is different. So, I had to stay ready. Because the same thing that happened to me in high school was the same thing that happened to me in college. Playing JV. So as I got out there my junior year, like I had to, okay, this is what it's like. Okay, this is the tempo. I'm tired faster. Like I'm steady sprinting up and down the court. Now I'm tired faster. I ain't as tired as I was on JV now that I am on varsity. Like, so it was tough coaching, man. Like I love my head coach, Kelly Thames, Coach Thames. I love my head coach, and then. I had Coach Harris, the assistant coach. Me and him was like, I knew him since I was like 6th grade. So that's family, like family. He was tough coaching on me. Coach, another coach, Coach Vaughn, he was a coach at the time as well. It was tough coaching from all of them. But one thing, it was out of love, but like they had no choice but to get me there because I had to adapt from JV to varsity. And so then by my senior year, I knew how everything was. I had time to adapt all junior. So I knew how, okay, this is what it's going to be like. And I had some help though because I had some underclassmen that would get to it.
Did you play with Kellen?
Yeah, LaKell. I played with him. He was a freshman when I was a senior.
Gotcha.
And so even then though, he had his... he had his little moments where he kind of was a little more advanced in his class because when he came in, he was one of those freshmen that was able to get on varsity and not only get on varsity and play, but also to start. And that's a big deal. But he had his games where he showed why he should play varsity because he would get out there and, get his 15 points or get his 20 points. So the only way he had to go was up. And then, of course, that huge growth spurt he got, that helped out too.
Definitely helped a little bit.
Be able to just rise up over people or, use his height to an advantage. And that's what you should as a person who's tall like that. So, But yeah, it's just funny how as I look back on and as we discuss things, it's just funny how things are similar with my high school story and my college story. Because even in college, all freshmen had to play JV. Right, so that was my first time understanding, okay, fine, we got a JV team.
I didn't even know we had a JV team, bro, until I got there.
I looked at it when I found out about Fama. I looked at it. I'm like, oh, they got a JV, and it's so crazy because I keep it real, man. I looked at the JV thing like, man, I'm not playing JV here.
Pride.
It was just. I don't know if you want to call it pride, confidence, but I put in so much work. I'm like, I'm not playing JV here. I'm not. Like, it was a small school. Nobody knew about Fama, so I'm looking at it like, bro, I'm not finna play JV here. I'm finna put in work, and I'm finna play varsity here. I did too much of this in high school. I'm not going to repeat the same thing as college.
And I was about to say, especially because you climbed that ladder in high school, and then freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, you finally get a taste of it. Like, okay, this is what it's like to play like consistent minutes and be able to do my thing and maybe have a little more freedom on the court. And you get a taste of it. And then college freshman year, and you kind of go right back. Yeah, that's got to take some mental toughness, some patience.
It was tough, man, because it was just, man, again, by me being, a man of God, I had to. It was a lot of prayer. It was a lot of faith, and I seen that in the Bible. It said, "Consider it pure joy as you go through your trials and tribulation, for your faith will be tested of many kind." And man, my faith was tested, bro, because it was just like, man, like, Lord, come on, man. I'm in my dorm room, man, and I'm just sitting in the chair, and I'm like, man, Lord, like, I went through this in high school. Why am I going through this again? But also when the Bible says that for what you don't know what I am doing now, one day you will. One day you will understand. And I think now that I'm out of it, I understand that going through what I went through in college, it definitely helped me become a better basketball player because, again, staying ready so you don't got to get ready. Never knowing my name was going to be called, but yeah, you had to be ready because when that opportunity comes, you got to make sure you seize the moment. You got to make sure you run off with that opportunity in that moment, and that's just life as well. So I understood that, but at the time when I'm in it, I'm like, man, he not playing me. Like, I can't just sit up there and transfer because at the time I think my mama worked at Webster. She worked at Webster, so I could have
University.
Yeah, I could have transferred to Webster, and I think school would have been free for me. But sometimes when you try to transfer, grass ain't always greener on the other side neither. So it was 50-50 because a lot of people was like, why you don't transfer? Because then she ended up leaving Webster to go work at UMSL. And that was like my junior, senior year of college. She ended up leaving to go to UMSL. And so I'm like, man, like even then, playing JV freshman, JV sophomore. I guess I was kind of getting a little varsity kind of stuff here and there, but it was every blue moon. I wasn't really out there for too much longer. So junior year came, I was kind of out there maybe for like, I don't know, man. I never forget though. One person was like, dude, you were literally out there for like 25 seconds. He could at least gave he could at least gave my man more seconds, more time, but it was times where I was out there for a little minute, but that taught me though, regardless if you out there for 10 seconds or you out there for 10 minutes, if you out there for however long you out there, man, it gotta be consistent effort. Everything gotta be going hard. So I understood that as I got out of it. Or even when I was going through it, literally like my junior year, I started to understand I'm not out here long. I'm not out here to put the ball through the hoop, even though I worked hard to put the ball through the hoop. I'm not out here for long. I don't got the type of green light y'all got. Like, I can't worry about the next person. Like, I can't. And that's the things Coach G used to tell me, like, you can't worry about this person. He got this type of leash, you don't. So you gotta show the coach that you can do what you can do so your leash can get extended. But I just got out there, ran plays, played defense. I was times where I was out there for 1 minute. There's times where it felt like I was out there for forever, but it really wasn't forever. But it was times I was out there for seconds. So it just, it depends, man. But I knew that go hard every single time. Stay ready so you don't got to get ready. And just run out with the opportunity. Whenever that opportunity comes, you got to run with it. And yeah, you can't go out there thinking, oh, I'm going to be perfect. You going to make mistakes. Next play. But know your assignments and know your plays as well. Because I didn't know my plays like, like the coaches knew them. And I tried. And I tried. But I knew my place. I knew my plays. I knew kind of where everybody's supposed to be. Obviously, being the point guard, you got to know that. And it took me a little minute to expand on my IQ and to really know the plays. But I think, like, as I got older, okay, this where these bigs go. Because when you're a point guard, some point guards only understand the plays from the 1 and the 2 position. You
got to understand all 5.
Yeah. So I started, okay, I'm finna take it upon myself. I'm knowing everybody's spots. And I think that was the level of maturity of the game because in football, when you playing football, when you're a quarterback, like I played quarterback in high school, you got to know everybody receivers. You got to know all your receivers. I say everybody receivers. You got to know everybody routes. I knew everybody routes. Even when I played spring football in college, I knew everybody routes. So you can put me at any spot. I know what route to run on any play. And that's the same that I took pride with basketball. Put me at any spot. On any play, I know what to run.
That was, so to circle back to my question, that was my biggest adjustment.
Yeah.
From high school to college was the plays.
See, it's just funny how we talk about and we tie it back to that question because I still think about it. Like, what is the big difference?
Because for me, like,
it's a lot.
In high school, we had some plays here and there. We definitely had some slobs, some blobs, some sets that we would go to if the other team's on like a 10-0 run.
Yeah.
All right, let's slow it down. Let's run something. So we weren't out there just ball brothers at Chino Hills, Like we had some sets and stuff, but there was a lot of times where we were just playing. We played fast. We got up and down. Right. We got after it. And we were some dogs.
Yeah, I was good.
Let's not get that twisted.
Yeah, I was doing y'all thing over there with some girls, for sure.
And so it was hard coming from that to college where, like, bro, I'm trying to mentally, I just have to like get a flow for the game. I have to catch a rhythm. I have to kind of just get a feel for it. Just kind of get in tune with my own thoughts, what's working, what's not, what's like the energy of the game, get in the flow of everything. How are my teammates feeling? What's the energy like? It was hard for me to do that, and also, okay, I have to pass here and then down screen here, and then and the biggest thing too was like the if thens type of things in college.
Yeah.
Is
if
like,
this happened, how would you? This what you would? Like, it was
right.
tough.
Because like in AAU and again in high school, we ran some plays, so I have a good memory. I'm able to remember. The catalog runs deep up here. I can remember what bulldog is. I can remember, like, I can do all of that.
Yeah.
But the biggest adjustment from the plays going into college was the if-then stuff. I'm going to set this down screen. If he uses it, then I slip. If he rejects it, then I pop out and try to get a catch on the wing. Being able to think about that stuff for me was by far the biggest adjustment.
Yeah, because when you think about things, it kind of, some people don't really know how to play basketball when you really thinking.
Because that was my thing as a hooper, bro, is I just thought too much.
Yeah.
I just thought too much. I had to get out of my own head.
Yeah, you got to read your defender as well. It ain't just going through the motions. You have to read your defender. If your defender is not playing everything correctly, if he overbiting on this, why you still going to set the screen? Turn around and catch the lob. Like certain little things like that. Again, like that stuff helped me with the game of basketball because I was getting taught all that. Like I was asking questions. But again, I think I only grew as a basketball player as well because I was seeking out for answers. So any question I had, I was asking the head coach. I was asking, Coach G. I was asking I was asking people like, okay, when you out there, I was asking because I wanted to get better because I wasn't really getting reps. And people don't understand that just because you might look like you getting reps in practice don't mean that the game plan gonna stick to what the practice script looked like. So I was asking questions, man. It was tough though.
That was something I noticed from you junior year and senior year was like just your acceptance of what your role was.
I had to.
Yeah.
Like, it no matter if you didn't accept it or not. If you didn't accept it, then you was gonna sit on this bench and not get playing time at all. And I didn't want that.
But you very much had an attitude of like you were saying a couple minutes ago, like I'm gonna get in there, probably not for long. I'm in there to run the plays and do this and that. But like you bought into it on a level that I hadn't seen before, where it's like, all right, I'm gonna make the most out of this.
Man, yeah, you got to. Like even then, like I can't even sit here and say, like, yeah, I was like, I never really thought, man, I ain't finna be here for long because every time he threw me out there, I never knew how long I would be out there. I just hated when I was out there for such a short amount of time. And I'm trying to get a groove going. I'm trying to get a groove, man. I was trying, and I look up and hear my name getting called, and I'm coming out. And I'm like, man, it was, I couldn't show no emotion because everybody's watching. Everybody's watching you. You have to control your emotions regardless if you're frustrated or not. And it was just like, man, I just got out here. I'm trying to get a groove. I just seen some things open up. Like I just penetrated to the paint and kicked it out for the shot. Like next time I do it again, they gonna bite. I'm finna give me a floater. I'm finna put the ball through the hoop. Like once you get that groove going and once the game start unfolding for you, I was coming out and I'm just like, man, it was challenging, man, because I'm just like, oh my gosh.
And that's a tough ass part of coaching, bro, is like for some players, they need to be in there for a couple minutes to catch a rhythm, like you said, catch a groove, get a feel for it. But then, like, if it takes 2 or 3 minutes of you kind of fucking up in order to catch that rhythm as a coach, shit, it's tough because you can't be out there fucking up for 2-3 minutes.
Heck no, you can't. Nah.
Especially in college, every possession matters.
You get a short leash with mess ups, and then it's like, okay, we finna find somebody else to do it. But again, there's some high school teams that operate just like a college.
Facts.
So it's like it's hard to really, say it's a difference because it's not hard, but like some high schools operate like a college. So when you come from those high school programs that operated like a college, you well prepared. And my high school program, we operated like colleges. We did. you only got a certain amount of mess ups and then you out. But like,
I didn't really. If you go to Oak Hill, you played 4 years of college basketball,
man,
before you even went to North Carolina.
So it was one of them things, man. I was out there for a short amount of time, and it's just when we was freshmen, we wasn't even touching the court for real. Well, some of us wasn't, and it's so crazy now that I just think about it because by the time we became seniors, out of the head coach's own mouth, he was like, I'm trying to get these freshmen ready for, the years to come after that. And it was just crazy because not only was I helping the freshmen, but like, it's like, dang, man, where was this at when we was freshmen? Like, what made you change your mind? But I think it was a lot of us telling him like, yo, you need to let them get some experience too, or put them out there so they can kind of know and get an idea of what they finna get their feet wet. And so when we was winning, when we was winning games and, blowing teams out, they'd get in and they'd do great things when they out there. They'd get out there and just play ball, and they'd get out there and look smooth and put the ball through the hoop and play defense, getting stops. Like, they'd do their little thing. So it's just one of the things, man, I went through a lot with college basketball. Would I go back and do it again? Nah, I would not. I wouldn't. But am I glad I went through it? Yeah, because that definitely helped me mature at the game of basketball, because now I understand so many things now that I'm outside of it. And so I definitely, like I said, God willing, I get, a professional, somehow be a professional basketball player, man, which is the goal. It'll definitely make me more prepared, because it's like, if you thought college was like this, then professional level is really different. And it may not be, I don't know, I'm just kind of speaking on what I've kind of heard from professional level. But again, the professional athletes, basketball players that's watching this,
go get at them.
Yeah, please help me out. Help me out. That'd be more than appreciated. Yeah, it's professional. It's a game. It's a business.
It's a business.
And so I understood, though, what I went through at college. I know I'm gonna be fine, because it's like, whether I'm out there for 1 minute or 10 minutes, go hard. Whether you out there to run a play or play defense, be the best at running. Be the best at whatever you're out there for. Make sure you're the best at that. I don't care if it's up there running up and down the court to look like you finna get the ball to be a distraction. If that's your job, make sure you good at that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, man, I seen a while ago Alex Caruso. He was like
he was a janitor or something like that.
Hey, his story is amazing, bro. But I think he said his story is amazing.
Janitor, but because he was playing for the OKC Thunder G League.
Yeah.
He was on JJ Redick's podcast,
mm-hmm.
and he was talking about, I don't know why I thought he was a janitor, but like, he went in for an interview. I forget the details of it.
Yeah, we ain't come prepared with the information, y'all, but
I'm not gonna look like an idiot right now.
Yeah,
but he definitely like worked his way from the bottom.
Facts.
100%.
Because he took pride in the things most people do. Like, how many people do you see really diving on the floor for loose balls like that? And those were the loose balls that really mattered.
Mm-hmm.
That really mattered when game was on the line. He was diving for him. He was going to go get him, to pass him back to his team to go get a quick little bucket. Like, he was taking pride in defense.
His on-ball defense is poetic. Poetry in motion, bro. He slides his feet. He like keeps his hands off. He takes the contact in the chest. It's awesome to watch. I love watching it.
Man, it was he made a note. I think he said something along the lines of, and he was saying how most people from the G League don't get pulled up to the NBA because most people don't want to accept the role that they have to play. And again, like you young guys that's watching, everybody's role might be different, but you have to play a role. Some people's role is the good role where you know, hey, your job is to score the basketball. Everybody wants that dream role. Your job is to shoot the ball. If you're a shooter, Your job is to shoot the ball because that's what you're good at. And so everybody got to understand, this person can shoot the ball lights out. I can't do that. So I have to accept that my job is not to shoot the ball like that. I can't shoot the ball like he can. I can't shoot the ball like Brent can shoot the ball. Shout out to Brent Wagner. He got
newly engaged man.
Yeah,
shout out to Brent.
He got a flamethrower.
Yep.
So he, again, my dog, E. Rice, Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
Their job was to score the ball. E job was to score the basketball. Brent's job was to shoot the basketball.
And I think too, so there's something to be said about your limit in terms of your capabilities. Like if you're just not athletic and you're just meant to be the glue guy or whatever.
Yeah.
The 6'8" screen roll, rim run, get straight up and down, don't commit a foul, take charges. If you're meant to be that guy, if you just weren't blessed with stuff, then there's something to be said about that. If you think that you're capable of getting buckets and like you said, that dream role, being able to be that guy, I feel like in order to do that, if right now, so if you think you're capable of averaging 20, having that dream role, but right now your role is run the plays, run the offense, get everyone organized, playing 10 minutes a game, whatever it is. So you've talked a lot about making the most out of those minutes. If you buy into those 10 minutes that you're out there on the floor and make them the most productive 10 minutes for the team as you possibly can, then the coach says, okay, wow, our plus minus is super good when he's on the floor. I really like what he brings to the table. Okay, let me extend that from 10 minutes to 15 to 20. And then just by the very nature of being out on the floor for longer, you're going to naturally have more opportunities. Okay, let's run the play. Okay, nothing happens. It gets swung back to me. I'm wide open in the corner. Let me shoot that thing.
Thanks.
And then you kind of go step by step and it naturally grows. But it's not, because you could sit there and complain about not being that star player.
Right.
Or you could buy in to your role right now and then possibly become that star player.
Yeah. It can happen like that. It also depends on how the game going and what the coach's game plan is. It just depends. Everything never really sticks to the script. You don't really have a script, really. It's just you might have an idea, but it's that's not the finalized script because you might think, oh, we finna do this in practice. Okay, we doing this in practice. Okay, we finna do this in the game. If these two things is working in the game and they're not stopping it, keep going with it until they stop it. So it just depends on how the game going. But man, I learned so much through college basketball. Man, I wouldn't trade my journey for nothing. I had my thoughts and felt like the system was unfair, but that unfairness it made me a better basketball player.
Prepares you for basketball and life, really.
Yeah, it does. It does. It definitely prepared me. It definitely taught me a lot of things that I can run with. But as to what I went through, I definitely passed it back down. So even the same moves, again, shout out to Coach G. Again, the same moves he taught me and the same things he told me about basketball, I still tell people. Look, my college coach taught me this. Basketball is music. Footwork. Also, again, I never forget Coach G telling me angles. Angles matter. You trying to do a rip through all wide. Where you going? That's a false step. Instead, attack at an angle. You getting somewhere with everything. You don't want to take no false step to get no space for real. Take at an angle. Everything, angles matter in the game of basketball. One little simple crossover is so effective because you attacked at the right angle. So now your defender has no choice but to stop you and cut you off at the angle. And then you go the other way. So everything, I learned a lot, man, going through my journey with basketball. And I definitely passed it back down. And that's why I said, man, all you trainers out there and you people that play overseas that's tuning in to the podcast, please get at me and pass back down y'all knowledge and help me out so I can continue to keep growing, man. I'm just trying to grow at this point because Again, I also shout out to Cato. He is the starting point guard for years at Fonbon. Shout out to Cato, man.
Shout out to Cato.
Caden Clark, shout out to him.
Mr. Fonbon.
It was some things I asked him that he was kind of able to help me out with, and kind of, we was kind of more of the same way of using our speed to get down the court and get into the floater area. Little things that I was able to see him do, but that's the real big difference I had to understand in coming into college was his leash was way different than mine, obviously. So the things he was able to do, I couldn't do that. And so again, like I said, man, Coach G helped me a lot. I ain't gonna sit here and act like he didn't. I'm gonna always keep it real. He helped me a lot through the 4 years because I was telling him like, well, why he get to do this and I can't do that? And we good at the same thing. He's like, that's not your role. That's not your leash. You can't do what he do. If he come down the court and shoot a 3, he ain't coming out. If you come down the court and shoot a 3, you coming out. So that's why I had to understand, man, like, role playing is key, bro. Role playing is key.
If Coach G wasn't there, do you think you would have played all 4 years at Fonbon?
Who?
You.
Oh, man. Oh, no, that's tough because it's always a what if. But I don't know, man. I would have to be in that position. But I probably would have because, again, sometimes transferring is not always greener on the grass, ain't always greener on the other side. And so I don't know how I would have made that work, but I would have made it work. I would have made it work, definitely. Because, again, I like the game of basketball. And I know, a lot of people come to Fonbon and their dreams of playing basketball just, it fade away due to just not loving the game no more or doing other things. But I knew that it's not gonna be easy. You're not gonna get your way. You're not gonna come in there and think you finna do this and do that. You gotta abide by the coach's rules. So I knew it wasn't gonna be easy, and I knew it was. I knew it was gonna be challenging for sure. I knew that. So you just kind of gotta hang in there. Just because things get hard and difficult and challenging, that don't mean you just always quit or transfer. Like, it get challenging at your new school, you can't keep transferring. Mm-hmm. So you got to stick it through. You got to see it through. You're going to have your ups and your downs, but you got to see it through.
It's a tough balance in today's age of like the transfer portal.
It's crazy.
Because like there is 100% something to be said, and I'm all for player empowerment. Mm-hmm. Like, because there's the argument that I agree with of like coaches change teams all the time. But then once a player does it, it's an issue. Like, I agree. Players should be able to, if it's not the right fit, if it's not a good situation,
right?
All power to you. Go ahead and do it. But there is something to be said about like running from the grind. And just because it's tough doesn't mean the grass is greener on another team on the other side. Man. Like, there's going to be some trials and tribulations that you're going to face at some point. And
produces perseverance.
Yeah. Pressure best pipes.
Man, it's tough, man. It's tough because you don't know what it's gonna be like if you do transfer. And I've heard, man, why you don't transfer? Just transfer. But it's like my situation not as bad as somebody else's situation. And so you might think, okay, I'm going through this here. I'm finna just go transfer and go here. Now you went from seeing the court a little bit to not touching the court at all. So it's like this is an L. So I don't know. It was tough. I just was just like, man, I'm gonna see it through. But like I am blessed that, Coach G was there to help me get through, because I had a lot of questions, and it was just tough, man. Just when I thought things was gonna go good, where we had that scrimmage against Swick, I got a little bit of minutes out there. I knocking shots down, getting rebounds, and going. Like, I had a great little game, little scrimmage, and I thought things was gonna be good my senior year, man. And plot twist, barely was touching the court. But again, I knew, like, for whatever minute, however long I'm out here, I'm not even worried about that. I just know consistent effort, running the plays, knowing my assignments, knowing what we supposed to be doing on defense. If he not supposed to get middle, I'm not gonna let this person get middle. Now, obviously, things happen in games where somebody, get a step and beat you. That's the game of basketball. But definitely just making the most out of my minutes. It was games where I had, was able to put the ball through the hoop a few times. It was games where I couldn't get a groove going at all because I was out there for maybe 25 seconds. So I don't know, man. I wouldn't trade my journey for nothing. I'm glad I went through it with the people I went through it with. I'm glad we were able to do something so successful. And, I wish the coaches and the team nothing but the best next year. Because I'm rooting for them. I'm definitely rooting for them for sure. But college basketball, man, got its ups and its downs, bro. But ain't that life? Sound like old heads, but that's just the reality of it, though. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm. So, at what point in your journey did faith come into the picture? Was it just something you grew up on? Something that there's like a specific thing that made you buy into it? At what point in your journey did it come into the picture?
Grew up on it because my mom, us being family believer in Christ. But I think at some point you go through your own testimony. And I think it started to happen when I got high school because I was just getting hit with you playing freshman, you going through these things you see in the court and you see in the field, and then you get to that level where it's just making you like, dang, like why you ain't putting me out there? So I think you start battling with it once you go through your own testimony, and everybody might go through theirs in middle school, elementary. I just happened to go through mine in high school, and when I spoke over Romans 10 at the house. To the kiddos, man, I told them your faith might bend and your faith might fold, but your faith can never break. And faith is what keep me going. Faith is what kept me going. Faith in Jesus Christ to know that, Lord, I'm going to do what I can do. And I trust you to open up doors that I can't, no man can even open up. And by that, just putting in work and, my opportunity come, Lord, help me to run with it. Help me to run with it. And help me to do it for your glory. That's just kind of what I was trying to do. Just to get out there, put in work. Because I'm telling you, man, you don't want your opportunity to come and you're not ready. That's embarrassing. So, I was dealing with it in high school. And then when I got to college, I just did my best to make sure that this wasn't going to be the same as high school. And, it happened to be almost the same in high school, but I had fun my senior year. We wasn't the best winning program, but my high school journey, again, I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I'm glad I went through it with the people I went through it with. I'm glad everything happened the way it did. I wouldn't trade it for nothing. Like I said, man, it's no hard feelings. It's just some things I wish I could have changed, even in college or even in high school, but it is what it is. I can't change nothing, so I'm glad everything happened the way it did.
At what point did becoming a preacher enter your mind?
Preacher could be ideal, but I know youth ministry.
Or what you're doing now.
Yeah, youth ministry is, cause man, it was one day I was at I used to go to Grace. Well, I kind of still go to Grace Church over there by Pattonville. And I was just seeing the head pastor speak, and I just was looking like, man, like speaking up here, like I would love to speak in front of a crowd like this. Like I would love to speak the gospel. I would love to. I don't know. It was just something that brought me peace to my heart, and that's something that I can't ignore. You can't ignore your heart, because that was the whole issue of why I went to school for basketball instead of football, because I had a lot of football offers. And I didn't go for football. I went for basketball because basketball was the one that I knew that it could bring me peace. I knew that I can wake up at 5 a.m. for weights or 5 a.m. for basketball practice versus a football practice. Like I knew I don't know. But the idea of being youth ministry, man, I always wanted to give back to the youth. And so when I was at church looking, I was like, man, I love to do this. And so then when I connected with, again, Lenny Barber, Pastor Lenny, connected with him, I'm just, okay, he did ministry. I already used to write Bible scriptures on my all white t-shirts, some fresh pack of white t-shirts from Walmart. I used to write my Bible scriptures on them. I used to write the Bible scriptures on them. I used to go play in them. And then people used to see that and they'd DM me on Instagram like, yo, I like how you carry your faith through sports and what makes you, do X, Y, and Z. And so I was just kind of connecting with the youth because I can understand what y'all going through. Especially the ones that going through sports. I can understand what y'all going through. Now it's kind of hard when females, little kids, the females, youth ministry, you got to deal with males and females, all type of ages and genre, and gender. But I don't know, man. It was on my heart, and I was just like, man, I youth ministry to connect with the youth. If I can be who you needed when you was younger. Not saying that I need that example, but be who you needed. So I guess maybe in a way we kind of all needed that example, but that leader. But yeah, I'm just trying to help him out. If I can guide y'all on the right path, then by all means I'll do that. If I can help y'all get into college for sports or even not sports, let's do it. If I can help y'all, while speaking into existence while I'm playing professional ball or something like that, and if I can help y'all get professional, I'm all for it. Always sticking my hand back down to help out. Cause somebody helped me, you better believe it, I'm helping the next.
Mm-hmm.
That's off rip.
Yeah, 100%. And it's cool because we're able to, you're able to take all the knowledge from high school, from Coach G, from your pastors, you're able to take all of that knowledge and then give it to somebody, give it to a 12-year-old. And then
Thanks.
They're able to take all of your knowledge at 22, 23, at 12, and then just build.
And as they go through their own testimony, they'll pass it back down.
Exactly.
So it just repeats and repeats and repeats.
Exactly.
Definitely repeats. Got to help out the next, man, because we can't do it on our own. We can't do it on our own, man. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely trying to pay. Even in football, even when I did spring football in college, the knowledge I gained there, passing it back down. Make sure your route is the same.
Let's talk about spring football for a minute, man. Because I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because people ask, or I would tell people that we had Fountain had a football team. And they'd be like, oh, wow, they'd be impressed. And then I say, oh, well, there's a weight limit of 175. And then they'd get real skeptical. Break it down for us, man. Take us through sprint football. First of all, how does that work with the weight limit?
Well, the weight limit, I think you have to be 180? 180 we had to be. I don't know. I forget, man. But we had to weigh in every Thursday. Those people that were maybe 2 or 3 pounds over the weight limit, they used to have to go burn that fat off, or used to go burn that weight off just to make weight. Every Thursday we had to weigh in by a certain time, and us skinny guys, it was no issue because I'm 160, 161, so I didn't really have to worry about making weight. I didn't have to worry about that. So you have to weigh in. I used to see people on the treadmill. We had to weigh in maybe by 3, 4 o'clock. I see people in the treadmill after practice trying to hurry up and go burn that weight so they can make weight and then go eat breakfast and stuff like that. But you had to make weight by Thursday when you weigh in. And so, I think Saturdays come, we play our game. But spring football is nothing but just a bunch of people that have to make a weight. Now that we speak on it, a bunch of people that has to make a weight. But one thing I tell people all the time is please do not underestimate sprint football because it's a lot of good ball players that play in that league. It's a lot of good ones. So don't people look at sprint football, oh, man, I'm finna go in this league and dominate. No, you might, but don't think that it's finna be a cakewalk neither because there's a lot of good people on other teams that can play ball. They just happen to go that sprint route due to maybe academics or whatever the case may be.
It's probably just their size.
That too.
Completely gifted athletically.
Facts. And see, here's the crazy part that cracks me up though, because a lot of people feel like, oh, we finna treat D3 like it's JUCO and we finna get up out of here. that happens to maybe 1%, maybe 1 or 2 people. But other than that, them people end up staying all 4 years. Like, nothing's wrong with D3 because ball players is everywhere.
They can hoop.
Everywhere. Ball players, football, basketball, baseball. It's ball players. It's good skilled people in every sport at any level. So a lot of people feel like, using D3 can get you to a higher university, which it can if you got connections. But I heard a lot of people talking about treating the spring football like it's JUCO and getting up out of there. And I'm just like, man, I ain't gonna say, I ain't the type of person to be like, it ain't gonna happen, because it could. But I came across some lot of good ball players in that spring league. I did. And I had some good coaching staff in my corner to help me out as well. So I was able to kind of hold my own for sure. I wasn't really tripping off that.
How did it work with, because you were the quarterback, and so you had your offensive line protecting you, or is that defensive line?
Yeah. So
offensive line?
Yeah, you got an O-line that protects you. Yeah.
Okay. So then I just wasn't sure whether that was offensive or defensive.
Yeah.
But so they as well cannot weigh over 180 pounds. So how does that work?
Yeah, everybody had to make weight.
But were you just getting sacked all the time?
See, I never played. I was quarterback in the beginning of the season, and it's funny because again, I'm very open, man. I was second on the depth chart at QB. Like, I was completing my passes, but Coach Shannon, shout out to Coach Shannon, man. I love Coach Shannon. I love all my coaches at the spring football. I love all of them, man. They all was good to me. But Coach Shannon, he dropped me from 2 to 3 on the depth chart. And so I'm like, okay. Like, it was tough, man, because quarterback, you got to eat, sleep, breathe football. You have to eat, sleep, and breathe it. Like, football has to be everything, because a quarterback, you're in charge of everything. Like, so I went from 2 to 3 on the depth chart. I'm like, what? Like, at first I stayed at 2 for a minute. I'm like, bruh, like, there is no way I'm still at 2. Like, bro, stop. Like, this just can't be real. Like, I'm doing my thing. Like, come on, man. So then we had one practice. Depth charts came out again. So again, all this time I was still at 2. Man, he dropped me from 2 to 3. I'm like, what? So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, look, coach, and Coach Shannon, he kept it real. He was just like, I was them athletes where I can go play receiver and be okay. So I was like, yeah, I'm gone. I was like, Coach, you think it's time for me to go be an athlete? Like, you just dropped me from 2 to 3 on the depth chart. Like, it's time for me to leave, ain't it? He was like, man, hey, go do what you want, man. And wish you the best. I forget what he said, but along the lines of, wish you the best, woo, woo. So I left to go play receiver. So shout out to Coach Stanley, because he's a receiver coach. And Coach Stanley, he came from the NFL. He played in the NFL, so his level of expectations was even crazy. So, boom, I went to receiver. So that goes to answer that. So I never did play quarterback. I was a quarterback and I was trying to play it, but when I dropped from 2 to 3, I left to go play receiver. But yeah, it was tough with the O-line, because those people that came to play O-line, they were really defense people. But we needed an O-line, so we had to take them defense people and make them to some O-line people to try to get us through the season. And so it was kind of tough when I was a receiver, trying to get passes caught, because, we couldn't really get the ball off because the line, it was tough issues with the line blocking. But all of those guys were mainly like defensive people. They wasn't really true O-linemen. So I don't know, man. It was fun. It was a long season. It was challenging, but it was fun for sure.
We're going to wrap it up, man. Any final shout outs for the people? Shout outs to the people, thoughts for the people, any last message?
No, not really. Besides, shout out to all my coaches. especially, shout out to all my coaches, Fine Bond Sprint football family. I'm rooting for y'all to do great this season. Shout out to my track coaches. And shout out to the basketball coaches. Shout out to all of them. Shout out to all my coaches, man. Yeah, I wouldn't trade my journey for nothing, y'all. So you young guys that hoop, depending on your audience, you young guys that hoop, understand that the higher you go, the more of a role you may have to play. But let's accept the role and be the best at the role you have to play. While also understanding that it's okay to work hard to put the ball through the hoop. But when that opportunity comes, make sure y'all ready to meet that opportunity, because sometimes ain't no telling if you might get 2, 3, or 4 opportunities. Sometimes you be lucky to get 2. And when you get 1, you got to make sure you run with it. But yeah, my Instagram and stuff will be in the caption or bio, caption.
We're going to get you right.
Yeah. But again, you guys that play professional basketball, or anybody that train, or that train and has connections with overseas and stuff like that, please get at me. More than appreciate it. I would definitely love that. Appreciate y'all in advance for hitting me up and about that and stuff like that. And appreciate my dog Mal for having me on the podcast, man. I wish you much success and love and blessings with your podcast. I know you're going to be all right by the grace of God, bro. So
all love to you, Dre.
Appreciate you. Love, broski.
Appreciate you taking the time coming on here, man.
No problem. Anytime, bro.
Episode number 5.